Today we travel to the beautiful pinon forests of Colorado where we search for pinon sap that we will take home and mix with some other ingredients to make pinon salve to use on cuts and abrasions. Welcome to another Turning Into Stories adventure. Well, today I'm headed up to the pinon forest. It's at a couple thousand feet below my off-grid cabin to collect pinon resin to make a concoction or a salve for cuts and abrasions. Okay, so I've made it up here to the lower part of the forest. This sits about 1,500 feet to 2,000 feet below our off-grid cabin. And I'm in this area where you can see, look out here, you'll see a lot of pinon trees and some junipers as well. But today I'm really trying to get the sap from the pinon trees. Pinon, it's really pronounced pinon. But, you know, a lot of people just pronounce it pinon because they don't use the correct pronunciation where I live. So anyway, I'm gathering up the things that I'm going to need to scrape this pinon sap into a jar. I'm gathering up my jar and so I can get started with this. I'm going to collect the pinon sap in this jar. And the reason I do that is then I can put this in a pan of water and you know, condense the sap to a nice liquid syrupy state, because there will be some things that will have to be screened out of it because it'll have some impurities like little pieces of bark or dirt or whatever that we're going to pull out. So I'm going to be collecting it in this. Eventually, this is what we're going to be pouring it into today. When I make my salve, these are the kind of tins I'm going to use. These are nice because I can scoop it out. I can also take the dog's paw and kind of push down in that and then rub it into their paw. It's great for your hand scrapes. Now, I haven't used this in quite some time, to be honest. But my dad used to make it when I was a young boy, and we had milk cows, and we'd use it on their teats, and their teats would get kind of cracked and stuff from the cold winter dry weather. And so we're going to be collecting it here. You can see the beautiful landscape out here behind me. Yeah, I'll show you the difference. So this is not a pinon tree. This is a juniper tree. You can see just kind of what a juniper tree looks like. However, this here is a pinon tree. You can see that the needles and stuff are much different. These have cones on them. These cones open up and drop their seeds, and those are called pinon nuts. And you can even see a little sap right on the edge of those. And those are sticky, sappy. And those drop their pinon nuts, but they only produce about every 4th year. And so, you know, they usually produce in the better years where there's more moisture and the wetter summers. Then they put off. You can see all these have opened, and I'm sure that birds and animals have already ate up all the pinon nuts. But if you've ever had pine nuts, pinon nuts are a little smaller, much more flavorful. So I will be walking around today. Shadow's with me. We're going to go for a hike. And you can see, we're going to have to get in here, but look, just looking at this tree, this is the stuff that I'm going to be gathering, if you can see that. That's pretty hard. And a lot of the pinon sap will be harder than your pine sap. Of course, why do they put out the sap? The sap is put out when this tree is scarred for some reason, and it has its healing properties. And here you can see where it's ran down. You can see this, but this is the stuff I really want to gather. It's ran down because of this scarring on this tree that was either done from a woodpecker or something, but that's the stuff I'm going to be gathering today. Okay, I found an older pinon tree here that has quite a bit of sap in it. So I'll be gathering some of that. That's the stuff that I'm looking for. You see how dirty it is. That's why it'll have to be screened once I get it, enough of it. And I don't want to take all of it from one tree. So I'll be walking around gathering this from several trees today. Might not find any if the tree isn't scarred. Gotta go stand out here on Pride Rock. I don't know if you can see that, but there's some juniper berries. I know there's health benefits to those juniper berries, or I believe there is, but I can't really tell you what they are. Yeah, surprised to still find them this time of the year. There's a nice little natural watering spot for birds to take a bath, and animals. Won't find me drinking out of it, at least with not a filter. Yeah, right there. Decided to take a little break. This is what I found so far. This is probably plenty for my recipe. it doesn't take much of this pinion sap to really work well in my salve. So I may have enough, but I'll probably search for a little bit more. It's probably in the, say the temperature is probably around 40 degrees out here today. Beautiful day for February. Water I'm drinking comes from a well, not a whale, a well. The well is about 150 feet deep. My house, I live out in the country, not on any city water. So my water isn't even filtered. It's been tested. Doesn't contain anything harmful. Has a few minerals in it, but everything healthy. Great tasting water. I've never tasted water anywhere any better. That well that when we drilled it in the early 90s, that well flowed for quite some time, free flowed, and it's about 5 feet above the ground, the pipe is, and it's a 6-inch pipe, so I have plenty of water there. And once I really started pumping it heavy, it kind of, we had a drought in 2002, terrible drought, worst that I could ever remember, and it's never really flowed since. Although the water level has come up, I haven't had any trouble with it. 2002, I actually had to lower my submergible pump a little, another 15 feet lower in the pipe. But I haven't had to touch it since, so that just shows I've been drinking water for 23 years since I lowered that pump and out of that well, so the well's strong. When the city water, the power goes out, people don't have water. I have a wood stove to heat my house. I can cook on it if necessary. Of course, I keep lots of propane bottles and cook sets around for times like that when I have a generator with stored fuel. So I can always start my generator to get my to run my well. I can pump water store it in jugs, pour it in the back of our toilets to keep our toilets running. So, although it's not as convenient as if the electricity was on, it's livable, very sustainable. See Shadow over there? She has been rolling around and playing on that snow to cool off, eating a little bit of it. It's nice to have a dog with you, especially when you're by yourself. They provide a little, even if they're not an attack dog or a guard dog, they do provide some awareness. And if you are taking other measures to protect yourself, then sometimes the awareness level is super important. And when a dog can smell better, hear better, probably better sight than me, then it increases my awareness. I feel safer. Simple as that. Well, time to gather some more pinion sap. By the way, if you want to use pinon wood as a firewood, it really burns hot. So it's a valued commodity for that. The thing is, the trees don't really get very big. They grow slow. The environment they live in is a harsh environment, dry. It is good wood. I just found, this is a big piece of sap that had just fallen off of this tree. There's another piece. But what I'm really going to do is, you see this one's covered with it, so I'm going to get some of this that's softer off of this tree, the softer stuff. There's some soft stuff. It eventually all turns hard like that. I stumbled upon here. Wow. That is the teeth on that thing. Flat molars there, but man. Teeth on that is something else. Elk tracks. I wonder how long ago that rock right here fell out of this slot right here. Another set of elk tracks. Not very fresh, but it's like one lone animal. Well, I'm starting to get a pretty good collection. By the way, my wife doesn't know I have this butter knife. Let's just keep it between us, okay? All right. After returning home, I placed the pinon resin in a pot of boiling water to melt it down and liquefy it to a consistency that I would use as I made my pinon salve. Remember, there are a lot of impurities in this pinon salve, and so some of them will have to be screened out or pulled out during the process. Once the pinon salve melts down and liquefies, it's time to add the oils and other ingredients that will make this a great salve for cuts, abrasions, skin irritations, chapped lips, etc. Here I'm adding a half a cup of olive oil and a half a cup of coconut oil. After mixing the oils, I ran out of time to complete making my pinon salve, so I let the oils and the resin sit in the windowsill for a couple of weeks. Today I'm going to finish my pinon resin salve that I started a few weeks ago. Currently I have my jar of pinon resin, olive oil, and coconut oil. I'm heating it back up. This is set here for the last 2 weeks just together, and it's kind of separated again. The pinon resin's in the bottom, which not all of the pinon resin will mix, but the olive oil and coconut oil has been setting in here with it, and so I'm sure more of that pinon resin has infused into my oils. So that goes back into the pot. We're going to heat it up. The next thing I'm going to add while we're heating this up is some aloe vera. I cut this aloe vera out of my off of my plant. I have scraped the pulp portion of this aloe vera plant into my pinon resin. So you can see I have some of the beeswax in there, and I'm sure I'm going to have to add more beeswax because this needs to be a little heavier than what the oil is, so that it sets up for me. Okay, you can see that the beeswax is almost dissolved into the oil. This is kind of the consistency you want, because when it cools it will harden up. The last thing I'm going to add to this would be some honey. We're all aware of the healing powers of honey. If you have raw honey, that would be better. I'm just going to add a little to this so we get some of that healing powers of honey in our salve. It's fogging up my lens there, but you can see this is going to be wonderful. I can't wait to use this on my dry chapped lips, or on my hands, or on abrasions, cuts. This is just wonderful stuff. We're ready to take this stuff off the boiler here. You can see the consistency that the salve is at this point. So I'm going to take it off and pour it into my containers. And I'll probably spill some, but I'm going to be careful. It is pretty warm, so you have to be careful. And then we'll let it set up and give it a try. Carefully pour this stuff. See how much we have. It also has these small containers. Okay, my pinion salve has set up, and when I smell this stuff, smells like pinion. So I know that I've got a good infusion of the sap into the oils and the beeswax. Just looking at this, I think I used maybe just a little too much beeswax in it. I should have used less. It's a little waxy. I mean, it does, you have to warm it up a little bit, but it should have been a little softer. So I do think I had too much beeswax in this. I took it a while to melt into the oils, and I think I added too much. So I will probably decrease my beeswax by half and only use about half as much the next time I make this. It still works. It's just, you have to rub on it a little bit more to get it to come out. It smells like pinion resin, so I do know that I have a good infusion of the resin in my formula. So I'll adjust the recipe on this in the description so that it'll be a little better if you should try it on your own. I can't wait to use this on Shadow's paws. She's the dog whose paws crack the most for some reason. Can't really figure out why, but for some reason hers gets the most dried and cracked, especially during the winter time. So that'll be good. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this story of me making pinion salve out of oils and pinion resin. As always, if you like my videos, please subscribe and like and hit the notification bell. I really enjoy these do-it-yourself videos that I make. All of these are very applicable for people who homestead or live the off-grid lifestyle. Once again, thank you for watching. Please comment and let me know what you would have done different, what your thoughts are. If I give 50 people comment on this, person number 50, comment number 50 from someone else other than myself, they give me their address, I'll send them a sample of this salve. Just remember that yesterday's memories are today's stories. Find a way to share them. Take care, my friends. Talk soon.